Hi everyone. It's probably been about 10 years since I stood in front of a group of people. It's so much easier to stand in front of a camera where you can just delete and edit. So bear with me there. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Claire. I have a social page called Reno Way of Life. And I started sharing our own current home renovation about 3 years ago. And that's when I basically started getting into social media. It was all a bit of an unknown entity to me prior to that. But although we've only been sharing for the last 3 years, our home renovation journey actually began back in 2011. And I'm probably showing my age here. So that's where we bought our first house. My husband and I were living in London. We were doing the whole London scene and we had normal jobs. I worked in HR, he was an electrician. But neither of us had ever done any DIY projects or even thought about homes. But being in London, we were just so inspired by the architecture, the beauty, the character and the history. And so we were like, we need to renovate properties. So we bought our first house and it was a stunning Victorian house. It was built in the late 1800s. And all we saw was potential. We walked in that house and we were like, this is our house. And it had original sash windows, it was red brick, it had the black and white checkers out the front, 5 original fireplaces. What we didn't see, however, were the hordes of people who were turning around and coming back out of the house after seeing it. The ceilings were basically caving in, most of the windows were smashed, and you could actually see the kitchen from the bathroom. So we actually didn't even really notice half of that. We were just like, we have to have this house. And that decision basically changed the trajectory of our life. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but we were like, we have to renovate. That's just what we have to do. And we went ahead, we sold that house and we bought a second house in London. And fast forward 10, 12 years later, and we've renovated 15 houses across 3 continents. During that time, we also introduced 3 cute little fair babies into our house and had 3 kids, each of which a year apart. So it has been crazy town, but we wouldn't really have it any other way. But when we got to America, we decided, that was our next move after London, we decided that renovating houses was something that we were going to start doing full time. And we had such an amazing opportunity to work on some incredible houses. And we started small, and I think this is the key. A lot of people, when they want to renovate, look, we drank from the fire hose on our first renovation. But it's really good when you start renovating, just to start with something small, something that needs cosmetic updates, some paint fixtures, things like that, things that you can do yourself. And so we did. We started small, we didn't know the market, we needed to get, our feet kind of wet, and we had some amazing opportunities. So I thought I would share with you a couple of those houses, one of which was a 1948 Florida cottage. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and we transformed it into a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. We realised early on that floor plans was something that we just loved, and the quirkier, the more unusual, the better. We actually had a bit of a reputation in the local market where people would actually call us and say, no, that's a Claire and Derek house. We need to give them a call and get them to come and take a look. And so it gave us a really great opportunity to see some beautiful houses. But that house had so much potential because we renovated it. It was also on an acre lot. And so we split the lot and we designed and built a house on the back and sold that also. But I will say, my favourite house that I've ever renovated was a beautiful beach house. Now, we used to walk the beaches on a Saturday morning, pre-kids, because I was in a bikini, and we used to look at all the beach houses and we would be like, retirement plan, 20 years time, 10 years time, oh gosh, wouldn't that be lovely? And then one day we were like, what are we waiting for? Let's just do it. So we took the plunge because we have this philosophy, and I think if you are planning to renovate more than one house, you can always sell it. So you always need to think about, take some of the overwhelm and stress out of actually purchasing a house and thinking, well, you can sell it on. And so we decided that day that we were going to buy a beach house. drove around, walked into an open house. The house had been on the market for a couple of years, actually. It was an amazing 3-story, huge house, but it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and it was the most convoluted floor plan that you could possibly imagine. And so that's why it hadn't sold. And so we were like, this is it, this is our beach house. So we bought the house, we renovated it, we turned it into a 5-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom house without having to kind of minimise or take away the space in the house and the feeling of luxury. We were lucky enough to Airbnb it successfully for 3 years. We kept it, we used it, we enjoyed it, and then we sold it for profit. And at that point, that was sort of one of the last houses we did in the US. We decided to move back to Australia, and that's kind of where our Insta story began. We bought a house, actually sight unseen. I still remember we were sitting with 3 babies under 4 in our lounge room, looking at the house online, and we were like talking to agents. We knew what area we wanted to live in. I'm from Brisbane, Derek's from Ireland, but I was like, there is no way we're going to Ireland. It's far too cold and wet for these bones. And I said, it has to be a Queenslander, because I just love old homes and old everything, basically. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm always hunting for the latest antique or bits and pieces. And it had to need renovation, because I knew it didn't matter how nice that house was going to be, I was going to be tearing it up and making it our own. So this was our family home, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, and what I like to share on social media is, although our social media account is to share our home and document it, it's also to show people that you don't necessarily have to compromise on quality to have a good quality house that speaks to you. So your home should be something that you walk into and is a safe space. It's a space that speaks to you, that makes you feel home. And I feel like a lot of people, sometimes they speak to, they're like, something's missing in my house. And it's that feeling, that emotion. So that's something I'm really passionate about. And so we share a lot on our page how you can create that on a budget, because renovating is really expensive. And I have champagne taste on a bit of budget. I don't know if anyone else here does. But so I thought I would share just a couple of projects that we've worked on in our house. So lately we recently redid a walk-in wardrobe, and you don't necessarily need a whole lot of skill for a lot of the DIY projects. It was completely flat pack. I'm talking off the shelf from Bunnings, and all we did was paint the wall black. We put trim around it to make it look completely custom. We also ripped down 3 of the drawer cabinets and put stone to create a beautiful area where you can do your makeup. So I'm like, I don't have to stand in a bathroom with 3 kids and do my makeup anymore. This is amazing. And it really created a space that was truly unique and truly our own, with an off-the-shelf solution. Other things that we've done is we took a side cabinet off Marketplace, and I basically stripped it back, bleached it, and it became our bathroom vanity. We also stone on Marketplace, and so all in all, our bathroom cabinet cost around $600. And I get people asking me all the time where I got that cabinet from, and I'm like, Marketplace. And to buy brand new, it would have been about $5,000. So there's so many great opportunities. Plus also, Marketplace is a great place to find antiques and vintage items that will bring character to your home. And the reason it becomes something that's really personal to you is because there's only one of them usually on Marketplace. So you're not necessarily shopping in a big box store with everyone else. And so you can pull those 1 or 2 items. We found some incredible antique doors that we ended up redesigning our pantry around. They're actually off an old post office from Brisbane, sat under someone's house for 50 years. They're about 200 years old. They are incredible. And I'm so proud to have them as our pantry door. And we also found a solid marble sink on Marketplace for $150. It had never been used as a sink. It was actually used to house menus at a restaurant. They were redoing their whole design. So I actually picked up a load of large industrial lights, which would have cost me about $1,000 a piece, and ended up being $150 for 6 of them. So there is so many opportunities to buy practically new items, and also just to bring a lot of character into your home. And so that's what we aim to share on our social media, Reno Way of Life. We also have just released 2 series of our podcast, Dream Home Renovation. We're currently working on season 3, but it's a lot of work. So yes, so I'm excited to work through that. I've got some requests from different people about topics, so we're going to be covering that. And part of what we do as well is we've just released our ebook, which is our renovation roadmap. Basically, it's a really practical handbook to help people start their renovation process, because a lot of ways that you can save money through your renovation is to be organised. And if you have everything organised from the onset and you have all the correct planning in place, that will give you the opportunity to shop the clearance, to shop the sales, to really think through your overall design, your floor plan, rather than last minute rushing out to Reese or whatever and picking up the same fixtures and fittings as everyone else. So that basically ends our journey. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Is this really the forever home? Yeah.
So I never say forever home. A home should evolve with you. So I should say we've designed our house. We bought a Queenslander, we raised it, we've extended to the side, and we've done a double extension, and we're building it underneath. Part of the reason for that is because I wanted to design all of the living spaces in the Queenslander on the upstairs, which is usually most people build in underneath and the bedrooms go upstairs, but I really wanted that. So I have designed it so that we could live in it for a few years, because as the kids get older, they can move downstairs and we can move our office space upstairs. But I would never say forever, because if someone calls me tomorrow and says there's a castle waiting for you in Italy or France, I will be on that flight. Derek's already looking at Derek shows me a new castle or a new manor house in Italy, and we'll have you nearly every single day. So I'm like, let's just get this one finished and see how we go. So, well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all, and I look forward to meeting with you.